How do the relationships in your life, professional and personal, impact your health and well-being? There's tremendous evidence showing how our sense of purpose with our lives or whether we adapt healthy behaviors is substantially shaped by our networks. And also evidence that lack of close, authentic connections can be as deadly as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. But from a pragmatic standpoint, what should busy people do with these insights? What kind of relationships and interactions in these relationships should they seek for well-being? How do overloaded people initiate and sustain these ties? And what happens if you get busy in life, especially in your mid to late 30s, and fall out of connections that were important sources of well-being? My team and I used network analysis to clarify relationships that impacted physical health, thriving, resilience, and other markers of happiness. Then we conducted in-depth interviews on relational sources of well-being with 100 men and women from 20 of the world's most respected organizations. This helped us see specific ways connections fuel an enduring sense of happiness in life. First, they create accountability and meaning for us to be more health conscious. Second, they enable us to grow both in and outside of work in ways that lead to more full lives. Third, they can be an essential source of purpose and meaning for us. And fourth, they can help us be more resilient in the face of adversity. The problem is we're often not taught to think about relational sources of well-being. For example, when my interviewees made decisions to become more physically healthy, their networks played critical roles in whether they were successful. Why do most people's New Year's Eve resolutions fade by January 23rd? Not because they're not good ideas, but often because we don't also shape our networks to pull us into positive connections supporting the behavior and move us from negative one, decreasing our odds of success. For example, people that create stress or unhealthy behaviors. Or consider what makes you resilient today. We're taught to see resilience as an individual characteristic, personal grit, for example. But if you talk to people about how they weather challenging times in their lives, if they have invested in relationships, they're able to fall back on them in 8 predictable ways. For empathy, perspective, helping us see a path forward, or just to laugh at the absurdity of our situation, to name just a few. The happiest people in my research, those I call the 10%ers, maximized impact of small moments and activities they were already doing to cultivate more fulfilling connections. They would choose, for example, to not pursue an individual 10K personal best time, but rather to run with a child, their friend, and the friend's parents. They weren't seduced by society's goals, but rather pulled themselves into more meaningful relationships by living more fully through connections in smaller day-to-day moments. And they focused on these micro moments in another way that turned out to be really critical.